What happens if I forget it's Ramadan and accidentally eat something? If you've genuinely forgotten and eaten or drank something, then it's considered a subconscious act and a gift from God. I'm Obi, I'm a Middle Eastern cook and an average Muslim, and right now I'm fasting for Ramadan. Today I'm answering your questions from the internet. This is Ramadan for Dummies. What actually is Ramadan? I know it involves fasting and the sun going down, but that's it. Great place to start. Ramadan is the 9th and holiest month in the Islamic lunar calendar. For 30 days, we observe a daily fast that lasts from sunrise until sunset. That means no food, no water, no sexual relations, no smoking, no swearing, and absolutely no losing your temper. Before beginning our fast, we eat a pre-dawn meal called sahur. Then at sunset, we break the fast with a large meal called Iftar. Afterwards, there's special prayers that go on long into the night called Tarawih. Then you do it all over again the next day. It's basically a month-long process of self-discipline, the goal of which is to remind you of the less fortunate and facilitate a reconnection with our faith. The 3 days that directly follow Ramadan are a festival called Eid al-Fitr, where it's traditional for families to gather and celebrate. Is it true you can't even have a sip of water? How do you actually survive a workday in a hot climate without dehydrating? Yeah, that's correct. You can't have any water at all while fasting. Honestly, the first 1 or 2 days of fasting are always the hardest while your body adapts to low water intake, but then after that, you get used to the thirst and it's not so bad. You're supposed to drink plenty of fluids before and after the fast to compensate, and in most Muslim countries, the workday is shortened or shifted to start and finish earlier. Outside work is mostly moved to avoid peak heat hours, but otherwise, you just deal with it. If you're really feeling dehydrated and faint or generally unwell, then you can just break your fast early. Does everyone have to fast? What happens if you're sick? No, there's pretty generous exclusion criteria for fasting. The fast isn't supposed to be a punishment, but rather an act of willful self-discipline. Anyone who is incapable of fasting is actually exempt. That covers people with health issues that may make fasting difficult, anyone who takes medication during the day, the elderly, the pregnant, the starving, anyone who will experience intense hardship by fasting, and of course children. In fact, if fasting will cause you bodily harm, you are explicitly forbidden from fasting. Now, if you do have to break your fast, you're supposed to make it up another day or make a donation to help another person break their fast. There's no official metric for what circumstances qualify as hardship, but if you're someone who gets debilitating migraines or pain spasms, ending your fast to take medication is specifically encouraged. Why does the date of Ramadan change every year instead of staying in the same season? This is a great one to know if you manage any Muslims at work. Basically, the Islamic calendar is determined by phases of the moon. When a new moon appears on the horizon, one month ends and another one begins. This lunar cycle takes roughly 29.5 days to go through all phases, and it happens 12 times a year. So every Islamic year is about 354 days long, with Ramadan being either 29 or 30 days. The Gregorian calendar, which we use in the West, is 365 days, so the Islamic calendar is off by 11 or 12 days. And every 33 years or so, the Islamic calendar does a full cycle. And so yes, you do get to experience it in each season, which I kind of like. But unfortunately, that means it's hard to predict when Ramadan will start and end with exact dates. So if I'm booking time off work, I'll have to explain that I still don't know which day it will be, and it could be Wednesday or Thursday, for example. What happens if I forget it's Ramadan and accidentally eat something? That's actually a really common occurrence, and the short of it is, if you've genuinely forgotten and eaten or drank something, then it's considered a subconscious act and a gift from God, according to the clerics. You're supposed to just resume your fast as if nothing happened. There's actually a famous meme about this from a talk show where someone called in to ask about this.
وكمان قطعة تفاح وتقريبا 3 لتر مي فمش عارف هل أكمل صيامي ولا أطعمني الله وسقاني.
That always gets me. Is Ramadan just about fasting, or is there a lot more to it like my grumpy uncle says? Your grumpy uncle is right, but maybe not in the way you think. Ramadan is about self-discipline and spirituality, and fasting is the primary way you demonstrate that. There's other obligatory tasks like prayers and charity which you need to do for your fast to count, but you also demonstrate discipline by not getting angry and not gossiping about people. If you do that, then you've broken your fast. The whole idea is to push yourself to practice discipline through these actions every day. But if you slip up, you're supposed to make amends and carry on. I find it one of the hardest parts to not snap when I'm hungry and thirsty, but I still carry on. Since you aren't eating all day, do you end up losing a ton of weight by the end of the month? Yes and no. I mean, you'll definitely lose weight if you maintain your regular diet throughout Ramadan, since it's basically intermittent fasting. But the trouble is that most people overcompensate for the hunger with big meals once they break their fast. And it doesn't help that in Ramadan, you are supposed to break your fast with friends and family. So it's the month where everyone is hosting and cooking up a storm. Unfortunately, most Ramadan specialty foods are intentionally high in calories, so if you're gorging yourself on them, you'll definitely gain weight. What is the deal with the dates? Is it a religious requirement or just tradition? You're right that dates are a big deal in Ramadan. They're usually the first food you break your fast with, but it's not a religious requirement. Rather, it's considered good practice. The Prophet Muhammad used to break his fast with 1 or 3 dates and then perform his prayers before returning for a full meal. It's tradition to do the same, but also breaking your fast with dates gives you a quick energy boost. They also have a good amount of fiber, which if you wait long enough before the main meal, will actually make you feel fuller and so you won't eat as much. Plus, they're delicious. These are my favorites, they're maghul, and then I also like these rutab, which are fresh dates. Really, really good. Let me make some space for the cat. Next question. How do you season or taste test your food if you're fasting? Well, it's kind of difficult, but also I kind of get it right all the time. Basically, you're not supposed to consume any food. So some clerics say you can taste it as long as you spit it back out. I don't really do that though. If I'm working off of a recipe, I'll use the exact amount of salt that's included, or otherwise I'll just salt things based on their weight and calculate how much I need to use. If you're in doubt, just always choose to undersalt rather than oversalting. Are there differences between how you eat during Ramadan compared to the rest of the year? Absolutely. There's tons of Ramadan specialty foods that you can't find any other time of the year. In Egypt, where I'm from, you mostly get seasonal desserts, particularly things like kunefa, which is filled with cream, or atayef, which are folded pancakes stuffed with nuts. But in a general sense, you avoid foods that make you thirsty, so any sorts of salty snacks or processed meats are off the menu. When it comes to the morning meal, this is where you need to be really careful. You have to avoid salty, fried, or heavily spiced foods, as they can give you a dry mouth and leave you feeling dehydrated the next day. Does the food change based on the season? Are there winter Ramadan foods versus summer Ramadan foods? So from my experience, most Ramadan foods are universal no matter the season. But you do see preferences shift based on how hot or cold the weather is. For example, in the Middle East, we always start the meal with a soup, even in the dead of summer. But in the summer, it's going to be a simple broth rather than a heavy cream-based soup. The foods also change depending on ingredient availability. My favorite Egyptian Ramadan dessert is a kunefa pudding cup, which used to be made exclusively with mangoes. But as Ramadan has shifted towards winter, the same dishes get updated with different flavors, and now you can get it with pistachio, red velvet, and even lotus. What are the best high-performance foods to eat at 4 AM to make sure you don't crash by noon? That's a really good question. And for sahur, you want food that is high in nutrition, high in hydration, and keeps you full. The MVP of sahur is yogurt. It's got all three, and it's also got probiotics that help with digestion and electrolytes that will help your brain and body function. Personally though, I'm not a breakfast person and I never get out of bed for sahur. I usually just chug my medications with a litre of water and have a protein or meal replacement shake. Is every night a massive Friendsgiving style party, or is that just something people do for social media? It's not every night, no, but they are frequent and community is part of the spirit of Ramadan. In Islam, feeding a fasting person is considered one of the best deeds you can do, and you're supposed to feed your friends and family and the needy throughout the month to obtain blessings. That's why people's social calendars get so busy during the month, because everyone's taking their turns hosting. For the rest of the days, it kind of depends on what time Iftar is. If Iftar is early, most people will come home and then just have a regular dinner straight away. But if it's late, they might cook something special for some days, and then the rest of the days will just be a regular meal. How do Muslims fast in places like northern Scandinavia where the sun literally doesn't set for months? So that would be absolutely crazy to try fasting, and it's pretty much impossible to fast 20 to 24 hours a day for a whole month without it negatively impacting your health. And there are provisions for people in this situation. The first option is to fast according to the closest country with a normal day-night cycle, typically around 15 to 18 hours. Another option is to fast for the same duration as the city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Many clerics say that any fast beyond 18 hours is considered undue hardship and can be broken early. If I work a graveyard shift, can I just flip my schedule and eat during the day while I'm awake? No, you can't do that. The fast isn't based upon the number of hours. It's supposed to begin at dawn and end at dusk, except for in the circumstances where it's excessively long. If you work a graveyard shift, then the solution is probably to break your fast with a small meal and then have the big meal once you get home. but you can't just shift the hours around. At what age do children start? Is there a junior version of the fast for kids who want to participate? So from the religious perspective, kids can start whenever they want. But in Islam, you're not obligated to fast or do any religious duties until you hit puberty. And that's when you're officially considered responsible for your actions and an adult. So most people start training their kids before that by setting a target of fasting for short windows, such as 9 AM to 1 PM, and slowly increasing it as the kid handles it. But again, this is just practice and it's not absolutely necessary. But if your kids want to do it, I think you should. Ramadan is a community thing, and sitting down together and breaking your fast all at the same time is really, really special. How do you handle the real withdrawals like caffeine or nicotine while trying to remain a functional human? Anyone fasting for Ramadan while navigating withdrawals seriously gets my respect. It's one thing to have a pounding headache, and it's a completely different thing to not be able to hydrate or take electrolytes to fix it. If anything teaches you self-discipline, it's this. I've known people who chug a coffee or chain smoke as soon as they break their fast, and it works for them. But most people actively wean themselves off of things before Ramadan to make it easier. If you're a real coffee addict, you have to do that early. I feel terrible eating my lunch in front of my fasting co-workers. Should I hide, or is it okay to eat normally? In my opinion, you absolutely shouldn't hide it. Look, seeing people eat and drink is just part of the challenge of Ramadan. And if you're supposed to be putting yourself in the shoes of someone less fortunate who can't get food, that's something they would experience. The first couple of days of Ramadan are often the hardest, but beyond that, seeing people drink or eat doesn't really faze you. Eat and drink as you would normally. Anyone who's bothered by it can go elsewhere. And don't stop inviting your co-workers. I used to hate not being invited to team lunches at work when I was fasting because I'd miss out on all the fun. Just because you're eating doesn't mean it's going to be uncomfortable for me. Is it Ramadan Mubarak or Ramadan Kareem? And is it weird for a non-Muslim to say it? It's both. Ramadan Mubarak means blessed Ramadan, while Ramadan Kareem means generous Ramadan, as in, may God give you a generous Ramadan. Anyone can say these to you, and it's just like wishing someone a Merry Christmas. You don't have to partake to wish someone a good time. If I'm invited to an iftar, what should I bring? Is there anything I should definitely not put on the table? So this will really depend upon the culture of the person that you're visiting, but bringing something with you is generally good etiquette. So bring dates, desserts, chocolate, biscuits, or any savory food. You can ask your host to assign you something from their list, but if you're unsure, dessert, and particularly baklava, as an Arab, is the best choice. But maybe ask them if they're from a different culture. Definitely don't bring a bottle of wine or anything that's not halal. That means no pork products, no sweets with gelatine, and any meat you use should be halal slaughtered. Can I still go to Middle Eastern restaurants during the day, or are they all closed or reserved for the fasting? Yeah, of course you can. Restaurants mostly operate normally during the day since there's always people not fasting for one reason or another, even in the Middle East and other Muslim countries. Many Middle Eastern restaurants will offer a set menu or a buffet during Ramadan, sometimes with foods that aren't available at any other time of the year. So if you're going to go to a restaurant at iftar time, it's worth mentioning to the waiters if you aren't fasting. That way they can prioritize the fasting diners, and so that the chefs in the kitchen can take a break to eat their own food rather than rush the food to you. Or you could just show up half an hour after iftar. I want to support the community. Is it respectful to make a donation during Ramadan if I'm not religious? Absolutely. Mosques are not just prayer places for Muslims, they are community hubs, and many of them operate food banks or kitchens for needy families of all religions. If you want to, get in contact with your local mosque and see whether they need donations of food, money, or even your time. And the best question for last, what is your favorite thing about Ramadan? So, as someone who has ADHD, I personally love how therapeutic Ramadan is for people like me who struggle with self-discipline. I struggle to start or complete tasks because they can be so overwhelming, and fasting can sometimes feel that way. The first day, it can feel impossible to make it to the end, but once you prove to yourself that you can, each and every day feels a little bit easier. And you're not just doing it alone. You and 2 billion other people are going through the same challenge at the exact same time, which is really cool. Whenever you meet friends, the discussion turns to how they found the fasting, and everyone shares their tips and tricks to help each other. It's a very encouraging and supporting environment. And for anyone who's stuck in a rut, fasting is a low-effort way to prove to yourself that you could put your mind over matter and that you do have self-discipline. So that's all for today. We've covered the most important questions about Ramadan, from what it is to what people eat to the exemptions on who doesn't need to fast. If you're curious about Ramadan and still have more questions, pop them in the comments down below. And if there's another food adjacent Middle Eastern question you want to ask, go ahead, put it in the comments and I'll make a video. Ramadan Kareem.